Hi, everyone. I am your host, Tiffany Perry, Development Specialist for the NANP. Welcome to today's first post-HillCon conference webinar with Holistic Consulting. We hope you had a wonderful conference this year, and if you were unable to join us, I hope you're able to join us next year in Bellevue, Washington, April 30th through May 3rd. Today, our webinar features Holistic Consulting with Sean Emery and David Pews. These webinars are recorded and can be viewed by registrants. We'll send the link out later this week. And if you do happen to have any questions as we go along, please feel free to drop those in the chat. Today, we present 30-day roadmap to establishing your career as a holistic nutrition professional with Sean and David. After graduating from the U.S. Naval Academy with a major in computer science and serving as a submariner in the Navy for 8 years, Sean transitioned his passion for health and wellness into a flourishing gym in the heart of Washington, D.C. Over the past decade, he has expanded the gym to include a swim school for kids and adults and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy. Sean completed an MS in clinical nutrition and an MS in herbal product manufacturing, which has allowed him to expand his gym's nutrition services and start an online apothecary. Sean is passionate about helping aspiring health and wellness entrepreneurs learn how to run successful businesses. Serving this goal, he is a co-founder of Holistic Consulting, a company that helps people new to the holistic wellness field establish a profitable business. He is also an adjunct professor at the Maryland University of Integrative Health, teaching a business development course within the Herbal Product Manufacturing Master's Program. We also have Dr. David Pews, a doctor of clinical nutrition and academic leader committed to advancing functional and holistic nutrition through education, mentorship, and program development. With a background spanning military service, higher education, and private consulting, he brings a unique perspective to supporting the growth of future nutrition professionals. He actually holds the Certified Nutrition Specialist, Licensed Dietitian Nutritionist, and Board Certified in Holistic Nutrition Credentials. And he serves as an academic department chair, Director of Nutrition Education, Program and Curriculum Developer, instructor, consultant, and subject matter expert for organizations across the U.S. Welcome, David and Sean. We're very excited to have you here today.
Hey, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to us talk, and hopefully you get something out of this. This is the 30-day career impact roadmap. Our goal here is to help you understand maybe some ideas or some actions that you can take to establish your career as a holistic nutrition professional. So, feel free to engage in the chat as much as we can. We want this to be a conversation. Put your questions in the chat. We'll try to answer them as we go. And let us know where you are in your career. Our goal is to help you make a difference, to make an impact. And when you're first starting in any business, in any venture, I'm sure a lot of you, if you're more advanced in your careers, you kind of felt this way. You're just like this little tiny bud of a flower that's trying to fight and scrape and survive and just not be eaten by deer and just sort of climb out of the ground. And it's like, whoa, what's this world? And as you grow in your business, your impact grows, kind of like these flowers, right? Our goal is we want your business to be the type of business that's, it's pollinating the bees, it's creating seeds so that you're creating generations of impact that go long past you. You've got roots that are digging deep and becoming, well, in this example, medicinally valuable. We want your business to be the vibrant perennial echinacea plant that it's just growing and providing, abundance and value for the world. And that is our mission. That's why David and I created Holistic Consulting. That's what we want to get out of this conversation. Our mission is to help build impactful careers. We want the world to be flowers. I was telling David we should use a soldier analogy. It's we want platoons of soldiers, and we want to go out and we want to defeat the army of traditional medicine, or of what is it, allopathic, or whatever the term is that you learn in school. And David was like, well, maybe a flower is a better metaphor, something a little more beautiful and something a little more on par with holistic medicine and holistic nutrition. Our goal by the end of this webinar, okay, we want you to invest an hour of your time, and we want you to walk away with a mindset, with a framework of exactly how to get yourself unstuck, no matter where you are stuck in this journey. If you're stuck in startup, if you're stuck in traction, if you're stuck in growth, or if you're not making the impact that you think you could be making, We want you to walk away from this conversation with a framework for how to get unstuck. All right. We want you to find one actionable takeaway from this workshop that's going to make an impact in your business, that's going to make an impact in your life. And that's our goal. So buckle up. How do we define an impactful career? Well, really, we'll get into vision, we'll get into mission, we'll get into core values. That's, really up to you to decide. But both David and I, we left a military career. We both combination of starting our own practice. We found some employment opportunities, and through a combination of the both, we really found a career that's both rewarding, fulfilling, impactful, and has been one of the highlights of our, frankly, my life. I was going to say post-military life, but this is like way better than being on a submarine. And so David's kind of here representing the employment opportunities, employment strategies, and how to approach your career from that perspective. And I'm kind of here from the entrepreneurial side to sort of like help you wrap your head around what you need to do to start your own practice. And we find that the place in the middle, the place where you can, if there's a company that perfectly resonates with your values and with your mission and what you are put on this earth to do, and you're sitting in front of, some sort of person within that business, it's like, oh, we should be working together. Like that's how we see, employment opportunities. The same way you're at a dinner party and you're talking to somebody who, I don't know, you're just hearing, it's like, oh, I have low energy, I have unexplained weight gain, and all this stuff. And you're like, I know exactly how I can help you. Like we should connect, and we should see if there's a way that we could work together. Does it make sense for us to partner in some way? And so the idea here is that if you put all of the pieces in place as you walk through your life trying to help and give to the people that surround you, you're going to find opportunities. And that's essentially why we created this 30-day roadmap. And you can scan this QR code. It'll take you directly to the full 30 days. So, one of my goals and one of my challenges to anyone who's paying attention and listening is like stay engaged in the conversation. Tiffany's going to send you the recording. If you're a note taker, if that's how you process, take notes. If you want to take screen grabs, do that. All of this information and like much, much, much more is contained in this 30-day career roadmap. So scan that link, sign up. There's a robust overview of what's included in that program here below, but it basically distills down into what we can talk about here in an hour. Who are you? You need to know who you are. You need to know who you are so that you can connect to businesses that might be interested in you. You need to know who you are so that you can connect to people who you can help. Who is it that you serve? What are you trying to do? So who are you? Who do you serve? How do you serve them? And then how can we start making connections? And this essentially follows our 30-day program in week-long increments. We have we talk about mission, vision, core values, mindset, and professional persona, service, and strategies. And then we challenge you to take action. And there's action throughout all of this. But our goal here is that we've worked with a lot of people. And one of the things that we've realized in almost all of our conversations over the years that we've been doing this is if we start with tactics and you don't know who you are, you're not ready to implement the tactics. If we give you a marketing strategy or a social media strategy or an email marketing strategy, but you don't know exactly who you're trying to serve, or you don't know how you're going to serve them, you're just spinning your wheels. And so if you're stuck in a startup phase or an attraction phase, it might be because you're missing some of the things that we talk about here at the beginning of the conversation. And I challenge you to, start back at square one. What is square one? Who are you? What do you stand for? What makes you a unique and wonderful person? What makes your, what makes your echinacea medicinal, if you know what I'm saying? Like, what makes your roots potent? Why do we care about your seeds? Why do we care about your flower? Why do you exist? What value can you bring to the world? That's what we need to figure out. The first few businesses I started, I did not understand at all the importance of understanding vision, mission, and core values, because frankly, I thought it was just like sort of business school BS that didn't matter and that doesn't really make a difference anyway. Because the reason you might think that is because you've like seen all of these big companies and you read a 100-word vision statement and you're like, what the hell did that say? We exist to build impactful careers in the space of holistic nutrition. That is what we're trying to do. What are you trying to do? How are you trying to change the world? And this distinction was so like revelatory for me in the way that I perceive values as a concept. Integrity, like duty, honor, country, integrity, mission, like all of these things. It's like, yeah, those are so important. But like, how can you run a practice? How can you be an employee if you don't have integrity? Like it's impossible. It doesn't work. And so we call these values that exist at the center of the core, the center of the being, permission to play values. Like you cannot, if you take the inverse of integrity, you have what? Deceit. Build a business on deceit. Like it's not going to work. So permission to play values are those values that you can't inverse and still have a viable business. They're who you are. Truth, integrity, care, like those types of values. Okay, so I'm not saying they're not important. What I am saying is that they don't make you different, because every business and every person searching for a job that's a viable candidate is going to have integrity, is going to have, like, you just have these things as a viable person in the world. Okay. It's like, congratulations, you're now allowed to play the game. Now, what makes you unique and different in the game? Those are your core values. At my gym, one of my core values is we leave room for life. Like, what does that mean? It means that if I'm walking by you, you know, it's in Washington, D.C. If I'm walking by you and I see you at a bar with the family or whatever, drinking a beer, I'm not going to be pissed. I'm not going to be upset, because we leave room for that. It's like, I want to prepare you for life. And in that, I understand that one of the reasons why we're in the gym is that we're also going to be outside the gym. And we work out sometimes so that we can enjoy the finer qualities of life. Okay, what's the opposite of that? Well, the opposite of that is something like, I don't know, we leave no room for life. We are optimizing our performance at all costs. We are an Olympic team or whatever. If I saw you drinking a beer with your family instead of training with us, I would be upset. Not because my business is not appropriate, but because the core values are just different. The core values of a small local community gym are different than the Olympic training team. They're equally important core values, but they're different businesses. And that's what I want you to explore when you start to define what your core values are. What makes you, are you whimsical? Are you fun? Are you loud? Are you sarcastic? Are you challenging? Are you accepting? All of these are valid. It's just, you need to understand these values so that you can apply them to your business. When you know who you are, you know who you aren't. And then that leads you to businesses that you shouldn't be working with because you're not mission, vision, core value aligned. It leads you with people that you shouldn't be working with. If you come in and you're a client and you tell me that you want to be an Olympic bobsledder or whatever, I'm not your coach. That's not what I do. I don't, if you want to cut 30 pounds for the UFC, like, I'm not your nutrition guy. If you're a dad who wants to develop healthy family habits that last a lifetime, let's go. I'm your guy, right? And I know that because I know my values, I know what I stand for, and I know what I'm trying to do in this world. Now that you know who you are, where do you want to go? Hopefully you've all seen Pinocchio, a great movie. I've got a little 3-year-old and we watch it all the time. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Now, I'm not saying the fairy godmother is going to come down and like make Pinocchio a real boy. What I am saying, and this also isn't like prosperity gospel preaching where it's like, oh, if you pray and you're good, like good things will happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, think of a red car and you start noticing red cars, right? Think about where you want to go and you're going to start noticing if you're moving towards that direction. So we need a really clear vision of exactly what you want to do with your career from a high level perspective. Do you want to be working one-on-one with clients? Do you want to be working in groups? Do you want to be an educator? Do you want to have a career with a job? Do you want to be presenting on stage? What do you want to do? What impact do you want to make? Think about that. That's your North Star. And a step in any direction is a step in the right direction over the course of enough time. I left the Navy. I worked in a cubicle. Didn't work. Had to start a gym, So the cubicle moved me towards my path of greatest impact because I knew clearly what I wanted to do. So define your North Star. And then with your North Star in mind, these 3 questions are probably the most important questions from this entire conversations. These 3 questions are what you should be asking yourself on repeat all of the time at every level of every opportunity that you have in your life. What does it look like when it's done and done well? What does your practice look like when it's done and done well? What does your resume look like when it's done and done well? What does your job look like when it's done and done well? What does your career look like when it's done and done well? Imagine it. What does it look like? Feel it, breathe it, live it. What needs to be true for that to happen? Oh, you want to be a professor. What needs to be true? Oh, you need your master's degree. What needs to be true? You need to be accepted to a program with a master's degree. You see how we get there? What's the smallest action you can take that can move you in that direction? Okay. So we need to understand where the North Star is. We need to understand what mountain it is that we're trying to summit. And we don't need to have the whole path figured out. We just need the next step. Okay. So those three questions are going to drive you through your existence in this world. I say entrepreneurial mindset because I feel like when David starts talking about employment stuff here in a second, our approach to employment is very much of the entrepreneurial mindset. If you come and work for my business as a coach, as a trainer, really in any capacity, I want you coming in as an entrepreneur. What's the entrepreneurial mindset? Abundance over scarcity. I know exactly who I am, and there are more than enough clients that I can serve. I am not worried about the success of somebody else. In fact, I want there to be a million nutrition consulting companies, because that means there are a million companies dedicated to the same thing that I have, which is maximum impact for the world. Like, that's what we're after here. So there is complete and utter abundance. For most of your practices, for you to be successful, you need what, 40, 50 clients, and that would probably be overwhelming. On my street where my gym is, we started with one, like I was the only gym in Northeast DC. 10 years later, there's like 7 on my street alone. The enemy isn't the other gyms. The enemy is the couch, right? And so we need to have an abundance mindset. I'll get into frustration and opportunity, but I'll let David talk.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Yeah, when it comes to this mindset, the importance of this mindset for success, for employment success, actually go back a little bit, John. Yeah, this is perfect. A few things to keep in mind and to leverage, especially if you're new in the field or you're transitioning and you're just starting off in the field, right? So many folks get picky and they focus on a specific role. And one of our tips that has worked time and time again is to focus on the right company rather than a specific role. You can always lateral. We've seen this plenty of times. You can always lateral. One example is someone in our mentorship program went on to work for Josh Axe. Many of you probably know who Dr. Josh Axe is, Dr. Will Cole. She worked in the sales department, but she wanted in with this company. It was a great company. And 6-8 months later, she crushed her current job in sales. She was able to transition lateral over to being a functional health consultant, nutrition consultant, whatever the title is. And so be open to lateral changes. Say yes to every opportunity early in your career as well. I've seen volunteer opportunities lead to paid positions. I've seen contracting positions lead to paid, full-time positions, part-time to full-time. I mean, you name it, right? So if someone presents you with an opportunity, especially if you're new in the industry and you're just looking for some traction, right? Then say yes, be open to lateral moves. Don't get too picky early on, and, just find the right people, find the right company, find the right people, and opportunities are going to find you.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of opportunities, all right, I said that this was the most important thing. What does it look like when it's done well? What needs to be true? And what's the smallest step? That's absolutely true. That's how you get unstuck. But sometimes it's like you don't even know why you're stuck. It's like this is so common. If you are, if you're back here as in the startup or traction phase, and you're just like year after year, it's like, oh, this will be the year that I break through, or oh, this is the year that I like make a difference, and it just never really seems to budge for you, and you're not sure what to do, or you feel like you're spinning your wheels. This mindset is just so unbelievably critical. It's critical to understand yourself, and it's also critical to understand your clients. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Pay attention. It's like when you meditate. I'm no meditation guru, but from what I understand about meditation, it's like you pay attention to your breath, and you notice when your mind wanders away from your breath so that you can bring it back to your breath. Okay. So the meditation of the entrepreneur is notice your frustrations. Like pay attention to your frustrations and pay attention to what you're procrastinating on. Okay. Are you frustrated with something? Think about that. That frustration is a feeling that says that you're out of harmony with something. You're out of harmony with someone. You're not perfectly aligned with your mission, with your vision. It's like there's an opportunity there for you to be in better alignment with everything. Okay. So if you're frustrated that you and your wife aren't talking, your communication isn't very good. Well, there's an opportunity to have great communication with your wife. If you're frustrated that you don't have any clients, well, there's an opportunity to have a lot of clients. So every frustration reveals a hidden opportunity. Identify what that opportunity is, and then use this framework to act on it. All right. So what does it look like when I have a lot of clients and I'm working with them well? Well, what needs to be true for that to happen? What's the smallest step that I can take that moves me in that direction? When you find yourself procrastinating, now this is really, really important. It's like, I just am always like, I don't like sending admin emails. I like, that's like the first thing that I hire away for like a gym business. I hate cancellations. I hate signups. I hate what's the policy of this. I'm like, oh gosh, it's just like torture for my soul. So I always procrastinate on those tasks. When you find yourself procrastinating, well, from an entrepreneurial perspective, you want to outsource things that you're not uniquely gifted to. So that'd be the example of the admin scenario. But if you're sitting here trying to grow your business and you're procrastinating and you're not sure what to do, it's like, oh, I don't know if I should start a social media. I don't know if I should do email marketing. I don't know if I should do what. You shouldn't be thinking about what you need to do. You should be thinking about who can help you get unstuck. Okay. Who can help you solve that problem? Okay. If you're trying to build a house, you're not just going to go in the woods and start chopping down trees and then like scratch your head. You're going to like find an architect or find a builder or find a developer or find a contractor. There's people whose entire lives is the thing that you're stuck on. And this can look like hiring a coach, hiring a consultant. This could look like just following the right people on Instagram or social media. This could just be Googling the right thing, asking ChatGPT the right question. If you're procrastinating, it's because you're at the limit of your capabilities. And to get unstuck, you need someone who's been beyond that limitation to help you get unstuck. Make sense? Okay, so phase 2. We're in phase 2. We've talked about who you are, understand your core values, and understand the right mindset. Now we need to figure out who you serve.
Yeah, this is great. So after determining who you are and who you serve, but before you start engaging with employers, consumers, clients, other professionals, this is a key step, right? You want to reestablish your professional persona and communicate it to the world. Sean will talk in a second what this looks like on the social media front with clients. But from, just building your portfolio, your professional persona, you really need a few things buttoned up. And before we talk about each of these that are on the screen here, I think it's important to talk about why, right? I looked up a few interesting statistics a while back. The typical job post now, the average job post gets over 200 applicants. Okay. So how are you going to stand out among those applicants if things like your LinkedIn, your resume, your cover letter aren't buttoned up and polished? Consumers, when it comes to business, consumers and clients, they have hundreds of choices of businesses that they can choose from. So how is your business going to stand out, right? Sean will talk in a second about the importance of, posting valuable content to your avatar client. And then, you never know when an unexpected opportunity is going to come your way. So it's important to have these different communication tools, again, buttoned up and polished. Sean is a great example. He was not expecting to be a professor at a university. I sent him the job for MUIH a while back, and, he had to get all this ready before he applied. So it's an important step, and he got it because he's a great fit. We've got plenty of other stories as well from our members, but let's talk about each of these for a second here. LinkedIn. I mean, this is often the first thing employers check after they look at your application. They look at your resume. They just do a quick LinkedIn screen. You want this up to date. You want this to be professional. This is not just your digital portfolio, but you can actually start engaging and networking on this as well. So I recommend spend 1 to 2 hours getting this set up. It doesn't take long. Professional photo, compelling professional headline, a good about section that communicates who you are, your value, what you bring to the field, what you're pursuing, and then your education, your credentials, your memberships, your experiences. And then have someone look over it and then once you have it created, then you can go and start connecting with folks. You can start engaging with companies. You can put that you're open to work. There's a lot of ways to use LinkedIn, and we actually have a LinkedIn workshop within this 30-day course. We'll have some other QR codes throughout here. And so we'll also have a resume workshop within too, but we'll touch on a couple things for resume here. Resume. Nail the basics, right? You don't want to be that person that has, poor grammar, poor spelling, a purple resume, right? Poor formatting. You don't want to be that, that person that stands out and immediately goes to the pile of resumes that isn't moving forward. So nail the basics. And so many people I know use the same resume for every job. You don't want to do this. You want to tailor your resume for every job you're applying to. Every section of your resume should be tweaked, right, to kind of match the job posting, right? Job postings often list skills they're looking for. They're often, list credentials. So anything like that, you need to, add to your resume, tweak what you have, tailor it to the job posting, to the company's mission. And again, our resume workshop walks you through this and how to do this. And so this is a great way to end this slide as well. So many folks know what a cover letter is, right? A lot of folks use the cover letter, right? This is formal, it's attached to the job application. They're important, but very few folks know what a strategic outreach letter is or use it. Even fewer use it. Of the folks that actually use this approach that we teach, I mean, I don't know anyone that hasn't been successful in finding an opportunity. I've done it. I've landed contracts that weren't even advertised. I was just talking to one of our members. She said, "Oh, that's how I got my first nurse practitioner job. I just reached out to a company that was of interest to me. They were not hiring. I told them who I was, my value, why they should hire me, and they brought me in for an interview." This was just this week in our Wednesday live session. We had someone else that this just worked for as well. And so a strategic outreach letter, again, you're going to tweak this per the opportunity you want, per the company you're reaching out to, but communicate who you are, why you're reaching out, what resonates with you with that company, the value you can bring and add to the company, a call to action. But these can be so impactful for your career. So many folks just settle for what's listed on Google job searches. You guys can open hidden doors, which is why that picture is there, right? I've done it. I've seen people do it. So I often tell people, we'll talk about this at the end, right? Don't just, apply to jobs that are listed. Go make a list of 20, 30 companies that you admire, that you want to work for, and send them an outreach letter, and then do another 20 or 30 companies the next month. And yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised.
Big
Sean?
time. Big time. Yeah, 100%. This is all great stuff. Like I slid into the DMs of the CEO of a $100 million sports complex in the Washington, D.C. area because I thought my swim school is better than what he had in his program. And I got a meeting, and so this stuff is really, really, really important. Okay. So like we hear it all the time. You do not have to be like a social media influencer to find success in the online space, but it's a tool, and so if you learn how to use the tool, then you can be as successful as the Instagram influencers that are not really, I don't know, maybe ethical would be the word there. They're sort of like, they're the influencer without the expertise. A lot of you can be the influencer with the expertise. We have a client, Corinne. She $10,000 a month. She posts on Instagram. She gets clients right to a phone call, all through the DMs. Her website is like Instagram, DMs, phone call, sales, 10K a month. Like when you're crystal clear on what you do, it doesn't have to be complicated. And that's what great online content really focuses on. Literally no one cares about you. They care about themselves. And, maybe that's an exaggeration. Your mom cares about you. That's great. But if you have a business page, you don't want your mom to like it all the time. You want people to actually care about what you have to say, because people are going to resonate when you start solving their problems. Because somebody who's sitting around with a frustration, maybe they don't realize that you are their opportunity. And that's what we're going to help you think through here. We'll do a super quick exercise. We did this webinar last year and we went through this whole exercise. We can include that. Well, it's definitely included in the 30-day thing. We're going to go through it a lot faster this time. But fundamentally, here's what I want you to think about. Who is it that you're trying to serve? Who are they? Are they a man? Are they a woman? Are they 30? Are they 40? Are they 50? Is it what kind of population? What are their goals? Who is it that you serve? Like, who's your niche? You need to think about who it is so that you can clearly identify the problems that they're struggling with, the challenges that they have, and the frustrations that they're experiencing. So a lot of aspiring nutritionists are frustrated that they can't find clients. Well, there's an opportunity for us to help you learn how to find clients. Like, that's how to think about it. If your avatar client is men in their 30s and 40s who are frustrated that they're sore every time they play basketball with their kids, well, there's an opportunity for them not to be sore playing basketball with their kids, and that they can play basketball all day, every day, without getting sore and have a great relationship with their kids, or whatever it is. But understanding the mindset of your avatar, understanding their frustration, and using your content to provide little micro solutions, this absolutely crushes. And so this is like the big exercise. We could spend the whole hour on this, and we did last year. But this year, oh, there's a deer running through my forest. Oh, cool. Anyway, okay. So you start in the bottom left corner here, frustrations. We'll just take one example. So we'll use this idea of like men in their 30s and 40s, because that's who I tend to help at my CrossFit gym. What's a frustration that they have? Well, they're gaining weight and they never really had to focus on their diet, and they always stayed the same weight. But now they're 30, 40, their body doesn't work like it used to. And so they can no longer eat like an asshole and look like they don't, I guess is the right way of saying it. So extend the frustration out for 2 years. And what's the fear? Because a fear is an idea of what could happen in the future if certain conditions are true. Okay. I'm afraid that in 2 years, I'll continue to gain weight and I'll be pre-diabetic. I'm afraid that in 10 years, I might die of a heart attack. Okay. So the frustration is pesky weight gain. I know I need to clean up my diet a little bit, and I'm gaining weight, and that's a frustration. I don't really want to, but fine, because I don't want to be sick and I don't want to die. People need me. That's a horrible way to sell a business. Do you not want to die? Do you want to, that's not the mindset that is inspirational, that's impactful. That's fear mongering. It's like manipulative in a way. Instead, we need to understand this inner psychology of what our avatar client is telling themselves. We need to understand the stories that they're telling themselves, and we need to reframe it as an opportunity and assign that opportunity an aspirational goal. So if you're frustrated with unexplained weight gain, then there's an opportunity for you to have total control of your weight. If you're frustrated with your low energy, there's an opportunity to have high energy, okay? Once we understand the opportunity, then we can project a life in 2 years if we lived that life with that opportunity, okay? What if you lived for 2 years with complete control of your weight? Well, you'd probably be healthy. What if you did that for 10 years? Well, you might be active and healthy, What if you lived with an abundance of energy? What if you did that for 2 years? Oh, the things we would do on the weekends with my family. We would go camping and backpacking and hiking. And in 10 years, what if your kids adopted those habits? How amazing would that be? So frustrations become opportunities. Opportunities projected over time are aspirations. And what we do in our social media content is we take a frustration, we link it to an aspirational goal, and we help people move from point A to point B. Are you a 40-year-old man who doesn't have the weight under control, and you want to be healthy so that you can have an active family life? Have you heard of intermittent fasting? You should not eat until noon, or whatever. It's just like some little tidbit. Or start with protein. You should be eating 30 grams of protein with every meal, or you should wake up and you should walk, or you should get 8,000 steps. It doesn't matter what it is. You articulate the frustration and you link it to an aspiration. the best I've ever seen this. And people ask all the time, like, can I be like too niche? Can I be too focused? I want to help everybody. Look, if you try to help everybody, you're going to end up helping nobody, especially at the beginning. I saw this, I was scrolling on Instagram because I love looking at these like hooks. I love looking at people's content from like a strategy perspective. This woman says, I help professional women drink 80% less alcohol in 30 days so that they don't have to give up drinking completely. I do that through my keep it buzzed technique. And she starts to describe how after 2 drinks, you're sort of optimally buzzed, and the 3rd drink starts to move you towards drunk. You sort of lose the buzz and you start to get drunk, and then that's when everything starts to fall off. I was like, oh, cool. Let me learn more. I clicked her bio. I clicked her link in her bio. And her first question is, are you a woman? And I was like, no, I don't work with men. Like, but it was such a compelling story that I wanted to work with her, but she was so clear with who she serves and who she helps because her processes work with professional women. She doesn't solve the drinking problem of the stressed out entrepreneurial man. It's like the professional woman probably drinks on average in different ways than the stressed out entrepreneurial man. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, like, she identified a problem and she created a valuable solution that piqued my interest, and I wasn't even in her target audience. Like, told my wife about it. She's like, I don't drink that much. And I was like, well, take the course anyway. I want to learn. So anyway, understanding the psychology is how you get into the brain of people. And when somebody's scrolling and you can clearly articulate a problem, a frustration, and define an opportunity and a solution, they're going to perceive you as valuable. And that's what we need to do. We need to demonstrate to our clients that we know their problems, and we need to build trust in the solution to what we're trying to do. Okay, so we've got who you are. All right, you need to understand your values. Who do you serve? Who is your client and what are they struggling with? Now we need to figure out the mechanisms of how we serve them, okay? So there's a lot of different ways. Keep it simple. Here's 4 super easy ideas. You need something to sell. If your goal is to be in practice, have something to sell. A lot of people, $250 for the intro, $125 for follow-ups. Fine, that works. Have something to sell. I love monthly coaching. I love, I don't know how long it's going to take us I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get to your goal, but it's not 1 month. It's probably not 2 months. Probably looks like 6 months to a year. Let's work together. Well, what's included? Everything you need. Like, everything you need. It's my goal to get you to your goal. That's it. And I'm successful when you're successful. So monthly coaching, we've seen people do session packages, 12, 24, 48. They're prepaid. They're sort of linked towards a goal that's like 1, 3, 6 months away. And then another program, we had this guy Yancey who took this very successful business on this premise of, we're going to meet together for 4 weeks and we're going to define a program or whatever. We're going to implement that program over the next 3 months, meeting every other week. And then we're going to meet once a month for 8 months just to sort of check in and make sure that you're integrating that plan into your life. It's a 1-year program. And so you can sell a 1-year program for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. But you do the math, and heavy work up front, and then you taper off and making sure that they're integrating the results. So a lot of options here. The idea here is that you just pick one that you're comfortable selling and then work to increase the value that you're offering slowly over time.
Yeah, go back real quick, Sean. I'll add one more that we've seen some success with, and it's you offer the one-on-one session, which is what he just went over, but you also implement a monthly workshop, a group workshop at a lower rate. And this brings people in who aren't ready to commit to a long-term package. And then from that, you can funnel people in who had they resonated with you, they had a great experience with the workshop, and then by the end of the workshop, they're ready to work with you with one-on-ones. We have someone that does this each month. She fills 15, 20 seats in the workshop. 4 or 5 of them each month end up signing up for one-on-ones, and she just repeats this cycle, and it works really well for her practice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so phase 3. When it comes to employment strategy, there are a few skills, I call them pillars here, a few skills that you have to practice, that you have to implement. And then there's some strategies that I have everyone in our program that's interested in employment utilize. And so I'll just do a crash course on this real quick, but the workshop goes a lot deeper as well. Okay, so you have to be proactive. This is key for the holistic nutrition industry, right? As we mentioned earlier, there's often positions out there that aren't advertised through a traditional posting. And so you have to be proactive by reaching out to companies of interest to you. You have to be proactive when it comes to networking, right? And so, you know, there's different levels of networking, but you have to be proactive. You have to get out there and you have to go out and collaborate with your local fitness center, your church, the local chiropractors, the local functional medicine clinic. You have to get out there and we've seen so many folks do this. Morgan, for example, as soon as she graduated, she was so proactive. And, through a little guidance, we had her do all this and she started working with a chiropractor. She got her personal training cert, got a job at the gym, which allowed her to do nutrition coaching there. She started doing workshops at her church. She started networking with moms at her kids' baseball games. So opportunities aren't going to come to you. You have to go out and find them. And so it's really important to understand what it takes, to have an impactful career sometimes is you have to go out and get it, right? So think about that. When it comes to networking, there's three levels. The first is at the bottom of that pyramid on the right. You go out, you attend conferences, you attend events, you join some professional organizations like the NANP. You start to build awareness, you start to get your name out there, you start to build a sense of belonging in the industry. That's great. That's going to lead to, some opportunities. All of these are going to lead to opportunities. The next is you take it one step forward, right? Further, you go beyond attendance and you start conversations. You start building, nurturing those relationships. You start meeting with folks through Zoom, coffee shop, meetups, phone calls. And so engage with old classmates, engage with old professors, engage with the local professionals in your community, your LinkedIn connections, right? I just met with a LinkedIn connection over Zoom last week, right? And the key for networking that a lot of people fail on is you have to keep it consistent. This just has to be a consistent exercise that you do every single week and every single month, especially if you are looking for opportunities. And then when it comes to resiliency, this is absolutely crucial, right? You're going to face rejection. Having resiliency is going to, keep you determined, keep you patient. It's going to help you bounce back from rejection, from setbacks. I think of Renata Sean, rejection on job post after job post. She almost went back to her old career, and then she landed 3 different opportunities in the field within the next 2 months. They all just hit at once. And she told me, she goes, man, I was so close to just going back. I think it was nursing or something like that. And so a few strategies, as you see on the bottom of this slide, that I have everybody go through and utilize are: say yes to every opportunity, right? I have folks right now who are volunteering at a health food and supplement store because, right, it was an opportunity, and the bosses at the store are already talking to this individual about part-time employment. Local company search. I would target large directories. So the NANP does a great job pulling like-minded professionals and companies together, right? There are NANP-approved schools, there are NANP partner companies, there are, dozens, hundreds of professionals. You can target those companies for potential positions. There's a national directory of integrative health centers filtered by state that a lot of people don't know of. It's in our workshop, it's in our 30-day program. You can look for holistic companies in your area to target. There are large directories online of chiropractors that you can filter to your area, functional medicine doctors. It's important to know about all these directories as you start your career. Networking is key. You have to keep this consistent. You have to let your mentors know, your old professors know, your classmates know, your LinkedIn connections know that you're seeking employment, right? That you're looking for opportunities. And then finally, you have to engage. You actually have to go do it, right? And one of the things I want to highlight again here is that outreach letter, right? forming an outreach letter, forming a list of companies that you'd love to work for, but they're not hiring, and then you go engage them strategically.
I love that. So we've got a few minutes here. Let me just make sure we get to everything.
Yeah.
This final phase, the final week is sort of like the action phase. Okay, there's actions throughout. You need to define your core values. You need to, you need to act on your LinkedIn. You need to, do all these outreach things that David's going to prompt you to do. This is when the rubber really meets the road. It's like all of that's prep. And now we need to be in a position, and we need to get ourselves in a situation where we can be booking discovery calls, so that we can be having sales calls, so that we can be submitting applications, so that we can be sending our resumes, so that we're ready to send DMs to people. From a business perspective, this is like a very, very simple sales funnel. But if you're not actively getting a lot of client opportunities, fundamentally, people need to know who you are. They need to like you. And then you need the opportunity to develop some trust. All right. So if people don't know who you are, they're not going to be able to buy from you. How do you make people aware of you? Social media. We talked about some content ideas. Go to in-person events, HealCon, great idea. Shake hands, meet people, synergistic businesses. If there's a gym, if there's a chiropractor in the area, look, there's a lot of podcasts out there, and they're not all, Joe Rogan and the highest levels of podcasts. You can probably get on a relatively low, like a lower tier type podcast, because those people are desperate for guests. And if you're in the same sort of niche and same sort of environment, and you can talk passionately about what you love to do, get on it. Once they know who you are, use content marketing to get them to like you. So it's like you get them on the email list, and then you provide some sort of continuous value, and maybe they start to like the products or like the help that you're giving. And maybe you're delivering valuable handouts to people. Maybe you're hosting valuable workshops. It's all value-based. And along the way, you're inviting people to have a conversation to see if it makes sense to work together. And
Hey,
that's,
Sean,
yeah,
we
please.
do have a question. I think it goes towards what you're saying right
Please.
now. Someone asked, can these approaches work to establish a nonprofit niche? I feel compelled to move towards serving through a 501c3.
Love it. Absolutely. All business is the same. Like, what's the point of a nonprofit? Deliver valuable services to people. What's the goal of a business? Deliver value services to people. You're just changing the mechanism of how that organization is funded. But I would say that these are even more appropriate for nonprofit, because not only you can think of a for-profit company as it's funded by the consumer. Well, a nonprofit is like the consumer gets the benefit, but it needs to be funded by the donor. And so you need to have sales funnels that connect to the donors. Like, what's your strategy for connecting to people who have the resources to fund your vision? And then what's the resources of actually delivering value to the people? The hardest thing to give away is something for free, which, it's like, click our link, sign up for our free course. A lot of you aren't going to do it, which is okay. But when you pay $1,000 for something, you're very likely to do it. And so it absolutely works for a nonprofit. Just understand that in a nonprofit, your goal, your sell, you have two sells. You're selling the funding of the vision for the impact, and then you're selling compliance to your product as the tail end. So it's the same thing. Just understand what you're doing. It's like, if your business is helping kids, like Corinne, I mentioned earlier, her niche is moms with children who have eczema. It's not children who have eczema. It's the moms who have children with eczema. She's selling to the mom. So just understand who you're selling to and who the funnel is for. And so if your nonprofit is to end diabetes in major cities, you're selling that to politicians. You're selling that to wealthy businesses in the city. You're selling that to people who can fund it. And then your delivery mechanism is, now you need to get buy-in from the community so that you can actually start making that impact. So yeah. From an entrepreneurial perspective, I want you to think about this. All roads lead to discovery calls. If you're struggling to get clients, I want you to just talk to people. I want you to think every single day. You're in line for Starbucks. How can I invite this person for a free consultation? How can I get this person on a phone call? not even really to sell, but just to ask questions and explore and to see if it makes sense for you to continue the conversation working together.
Yeah, yeah, you're good, Sean. Yeah,
Yeah.
that actually worked for someone in the sauna the other day in our program. She was just talking to someone in the sauna and it led to an opportunity. Anyways, yeah, to wrap up here before we talk about the overall program again, there's really 4 things that we recommend taking consistent action on, especially from the employment side. And this is where you really plug everything in that we talked about. And so as you can see here on the slide, right, your resume and cover letter that you developed earlier on in the program, right? This is where you plug that in. You start doing your job search, and you have to consistently do these things. Job search and applications, right? To do this, you need to know key search terms, you need to know the large directories, and you need to focus on the company over the role sometimes, right? And you need to be open to opportunities, no matter how big or small. Next would be you have to consistently engage in relationship first networking, right? Through local connections, former classmates, LinkedIn connections. This is where you're not really pitching yourself for an opportunity. You're just planting seeds because a lot of job opportunities, collaborations, partnerships, they're formed, whether it's informally, later on without, formally planning for it. And then from there, strategic targeted outreach or networking is crucial, right? So this is where your outreach letter comes in. This is where a search for companies that align with your core values comes in. And then following up. This is such a key step to help you stand out from those other 250 applicants for the job, or to stand out from the entrepreneur side, stand out from the other companies you might be competing with, right? And so be timely. Anytime someone expresses interest in your services, you had a great conversation with them, follow up within a day or two, right? Make it personal. Mention something about the conversation or your shared interests. After a networking event, if you met someone, reach back out. You had a good job interview, reach out to the panelists. Hey, thank you for the great interview. It was great, learning about the company. I'm really excited about the potential to join the team. So the power of following up can just kind of, just get you over that mountain, when you're almost there. And so, Sean, I'll let you take the next one.
Yeah, that's great. Look, here's the deal. 30 days, you give us 30 days, and it's our goal to help that 30 days create a lifetime of impact. That's really what we're here about. Everything that we talked about today is sort of like a crash course. We tried to focus on some actionable things that you can immediately take away. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to do. And even in 30 days, it's a lot. But if you want to get unstuck, if you want an impactful career, if you want to take the next step, scan the QR code, sign up for the 30-day program. It's totally free. We want more blossomed flowers in the world. And, Tiffany might be able to speak to this, but she was telling us before we started the call, she got approached by a lot of people at HealCon that are like, we're people thinking about leaving the industry, leaving the career because they couldn't find traction, because they couldn't get the impact. It's like you spent all of this time, all of this energy developing this passion and this skill set to help people. And like, it's like, come on, we've got to be able to make those connections. And that's what we're here for. So without further ado, are there any questions?
Yeah, and as people put questions in the chat, I'll mention too, guys, a lot of you are studying for the BCHN exam. You also need 500 hours for the credential, 500 contact hours. Our company offers that as well. We have an NANP-approved credentialing program, right, where we have a 1,000 practice question exam prep course, great pass rate. We have opportunities to earn the 500 hours. So a lot of folks come to us who are focused primarily just on getting their credential. That's step one for them. And so we kind of help them once they graduate school, or when they're at the final steps of school, to start that process as well. But let's see if there's any questions here.
Yeah. So how often do we offer the program? Like, it's going to just be continuous.
Rolling admissions.
Yeah, it's totally free, rolling admission. Let me get back to this question. One thing, and like, I think this is like a really important mindset shift. You don't need to wait until school is over to start your career.
Yeah.
Like, you should be starting your career now. Our goal Like, you should be graduating with your master's degree, having funded that master's degree with a thriving career, like, yeah, okay, maybe you need this certification or this license and this whatever to do this kind of coaching. You can help somebody stay accountable to taking 8,500 steps. You can start creating valuable content. You can start building your email lists. You can start networking with businesses. You can start having volunteer opportunities. You can start sharing information that you're learning in your master's journey. It's like, you should be starting now. You should be seeing your career as another class in your master's program. So sign up for it whenever you want or don't. But if I were you, if I could go back in time, I would start my master's program and I would start taking the business side of it very, very seriously and start growing as I'm learning through the program.
Yeah, I tell everybody, I knew I wanted to teach at the college level, so I had to go get a master's, and because that's just what you need. If you want to start a business and you've never done it before, go find someone to help you start the business that's done it. That's my biggest tip for people.
And
yeah.
Sorry, David. I tell this to so many people. So many people are like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Oh, I'm not good enough. I need to work with somebody. I need to shadow with somebody. I need to get better. If I eat a dozen donuts for breakfast and I come to you and I say, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight, I'm pre-diabetic, can you help me? You're gonna be like, yeah, stop eating a dozen donuts. Like, you don't need to wait until you can help everybody before you start helping somebody. If you think that you can help somebody, like, that's why we have discovery calls and conversations and free consultations, because I don't know if I can help you. I don't know if I can help you. I need to ask you a ton of questions. I need to see what you're all about. I need to understand what you're struggling with. And if I think I can help you, then I can invite you to work with me. I can invite you.
Sean, David, when does the program start? Someone had asked that question.
Right now. Scan the link, get started. You'll get access to the program right now. We're going to try to get 10 to 15 people sort of going through it throughout the month of May.
Yeah.
And create some, community. And I haven't talked to David about this, but it's one of my goals to host a few, just free live sessions to kind of keep the momentum going from this for people who enroll in this program in May.
I think it's very beneficial. Even Julie had mentioned that she was working on getting a PCC for holistic consulting, or for holistic consulting. And basically, this is just invaluable information. So we all, including myself, really appreciate you doing this.
Awesome.
Yeah, shoot us an email, guys. There's our emails on the screen. It's just david@holisticconsultinghq.com or sean@holisticconsultinghq.com. Send us your questions. Just say hi.
So a few more questions here. So no, this program is for anybody who wants an impactful career in holistic nutrition. It's not for people pursuing a master's. It can even be for people who aren't even pursuing like a credential. People who want to make an impact. People who want to take a passion for healing and a passion for this world. That's what this program is for. Fear to start is an issue, but let me reframe that. You should be more afraid of inaction than you are of action, because inaction means you're missing out on the ability to impact the lives of so many people. If you take action, you have the chance of helping somebody. If you don't take action, you will guaranteed not help anybody. And so our whole mission, our whole perspective is impact. In order to create impact, you have to take action. And so please, we're begging you, take action. We're trying to do everything in our power to create more vibrant, perennial flowers, making the world a beautiful and healthy place. And we appreciate your time.
Yeah, we really appreciate you both being here. I mean, it's obviously great for people who are just starting out, or people who don't know how to move forward. Holistic consulting has always been just the top of our list of how to help people move forward, and that's where you come along. So anyone who is, interested in this 30-day program, it is free, like David and Sean mentioned, and we all appreciate you being here. Please, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to Sean or David, or even myself. I know you have my email, and I'll be happy to get you connected. You're both amazing. We both appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your passion in this industry, as Megan said. And thank you so much for joining us today. This brings us to the end of our discussion.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Awesome.
You're very welcome.
Thank you all for paying attention and listening. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the other side.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.